I mean, I was kind of hoping it would, like, come in slowly. Didn't know. We got loud vampires out of nowhere, so my apologies for that very dramatic audio sting. As you can see, tonight's music is this track here. Should be pretty quiet. You'll hear it most of the time. Just sitting in the background because that's what it's for. I've decided what we'll get up to for the next half of the stream. Well, hour. It's 9 o'clock now. It's just read out a little Vampire the Masquerade Night Road. And it has been a bit of time since we were playing with that Toreador, so I've clicked start again. Actually, I have another idea. Bit of a tease. Not my only vampire game. I want to try Shadows in New York. Gotta remember which one came first. Coteries or Shadows? I think Shadows. Also pretty sure it has its own music, so let's give that a go, huh? New vampire game? Instead of doing a display capture, instead, let's capture a particular... Bound my cursor. Back, you fuck. Really? I'm grinning because, like, I have decent music in the background. You should have that now, hopefully. It's all we got. Cool. Oh, I made it old-fashioned. Shadows in New York. Let's go. It's a visual novel with background sound. Welcome to my castle. The cat's moved so I can grab my keyboard back. Oh. Play with my controller? Yeah, yes, please. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. It went out of the window sometime after midnight. Maybe earlier. The kingdom is not of this world, you see. It lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. Tried to identify the way people reach it, and I am convinced it has something to do with the moon. Some say the moon's aura can turn them insane. You've heard the phrases moonstruck and lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them some subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. And so whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, they feel different. Once they pass the doorstep, they're ready to act out. The dance of horrors and marvels begins. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to Big Beat Burger. If you're here this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. More likely, you're praying that the sunrise never comes. Insatiable children of the night gather round, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories, unwind after a frustrating series of failures, or simply fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here greedily reveling in every interaction they have. They have no idea that they are only here for my amusement. To them, I'm just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. I've been coming here almost every night for years. I know where to sit, where to look, and where to eavesdrop for maximum amusement. I basically a voyeur and unashamed to admit it. It gave me insight about the human condition I'd never otherwise have gathered, and more importantly, a necessary skill to make ends meet as a journalist. My game information still says Stranger of Paradise. Shadows of New York. That's Jimbles plays. Shadows of New York. And this will overwrite the tags. Cool. Let's go. As I write on my crappy old laptop, patiently waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, I keep my senses peeled to pick up stories around me. Of course, a lot of regular events such as food fights are nothing to write home about, aside from my unfortunate tendency to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. Up to this day, I've had to wash my jeans because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of improvised honey mustard bomb. Every stain tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting, sometimes it's disturbing, sometimes it's dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years have made it absolutely worth it. I've got so many stories, I don't know where to begin. Theatrical breakups, impromptu morning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fires of senseless battle. A lady in a gorgeous Givenchy dress ordering a box of takeout chicken nuggets, paying in cash with her hands completely covered in blood. She was asked if she wants a napkin. She said no. Two thirsty macho dudes shamelessly going for it in the corner, hushed moaning filling the lobby while everyone around valiantly fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. Straight up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode, trying to break all the windows. Big Joe left the joint fully convinced he'd knocked out himself, while the surface worker was just standing next to him. Seemed proud of his victory, too. Middle-aged hag getting a heart attack after screaming her lungs out not to let Muslims near her food, just because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. A masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, forcing the employees to cook at gunpoint. Police later said those were art students reenacting some hipster book they read. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. This is the noise that serves as the foundation for my creativity. This is the soma that keeps me going. This is... So... As pathetic as it may sound, these days this is the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, feeding on these people's stories, emotions, and personalities just because I'm not satisfied with mine. At times I think of my psyche as some kind of shitty postmodern construct that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, but only yearns for something felt and truthful. Does this even make any sense? Look at the screen of my laptop. 3:47 a.m. At this point, I'm almost somnambulic, but nothing interesting has happened yet. Feels like all the customers are watching each other tonight, hoping for others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Next time, go find your own. I think it's time to call it a night. Coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. Ugh. I'll reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. Goddamn, this is pure trash. I held the backspace button until Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate and let out a sound of deep relief. There's no pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than ragging on someone even worse than them, so what target is easier than the dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago? I checked the time again. I need to go. I have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I have a hunch it's not going to end well. And it's not because I'm an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee to simply function on a basic level despite like 4 hours of sleep. Because I always have a hunch things are not going the way they're supposed to. Click, clack. Click, click, clack. The loud clatter of keyboards assault me from all sides makes the splitting headache unbearable. Used to be I dreamed of nothing else but being a part of the New York Lodestar editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly. The first magazine I ever bought for myself. Now simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood. Never mind seeing all those old farts phoning in more reactionary opinion columns and Wikipedia-level analysis of current events. Click, clack, click, clack, clack. Used to destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. They shaped my thinking about politics, art, journalism. They even pointed me towards my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. And some talented people started leaving for greeny pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neuroses. Some became complacent. All of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed unnecessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. These days, whenever someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar, it's because a few idealistic contributors willing to accept meager pay while putting in serious work. Dumbasses. Other than that, the magazine specializes in publishing pale echoes of provocative ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for a decade. No wonder the readership isn't freefall, but even though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. As in, if anyone from the outside attempts to board the vessel in hopes of fixing its course or its holes, they will be swiftly taken care of. I should know. Been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with his writing. Brian. His Lodestar editor-in-chief, Brian, the man sitting in front of me right now. Of course, he only has time for editorials these days. A drop in the sea of needs, managerial duties hit him hard. It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. He's said his piece, now it's up for me to react, and I'm coming up blank. But what do you want me to say, Brian? I'm pissed off. I can tell you've already made up your mind, but you still want me to go through the motions just to make me feel listened to. Whatever, let's do this. You're protecting a complete piece of shit here. Now look, I know my article sounds like character assassination, but that's just because the guy gave me enough ammo to make him look like Swiss cheese once the story goes live. My sources are legit. They provided receipts for everything. They faced all kinds of injustices and are crying out for help. Why are you siding with a corporate shithead and not them? Your sources are not the problem here. I never said they were. You're avoiding the core of the issue. No, I believe I've pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I'd greenlight the article here and now, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But you're killing the article just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it. Get real. This is not about some millionaire jerk calling me to make an offer I can't refuse. What is this about then? Because it looks awfully like it's about my bosses telling me that this outlet can't afford the legal action we have already been threatened with. So millionaire interference. Oh, for crying out loud, Julia, don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. I publish your story. It's Teal vs. Gorka all over again. A lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we're bled dry. I have a mortgage. I have 3 mouths waiting to be fed at home. I have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn apart over some... Don't you think it's telling you mentioned your mortgage first? Silence. Just asking questions. I know better than to get into these empty semantic arguments with you, Miss Sawinski. You're good at them. The problem is, you're still not good enough. Meaning, you're too in love with weaving a good story and establishing a seductive narrative to let facts get in the way. You've got enough boring suits with no principles on board these days. They always give you facts because that's all they can do. I'm using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth. Except facts can blindside you, and double spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. Their HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative, and they're doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but it will put every little thing in question. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Julia... Let me say it again. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Do you personally believe it or not? This is not... You've listened to the tapes, you've read the transcripts, you've seen the documents, and you've got the files. I'm asking for your personal opinion. Do you believe it or not? Click, clack, click, clack, click. Of course I do, but that's beside the point. It's not. Look, how about I say it as... How... It's not. Look, how about I just say it out loud and save us both some time? We're not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. You set up this meeting knowing very damn well there's only one way it's going to end. You've got a mortgage, 3 mouths to feed. You prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concept of greater good. I get it. I really do. Yet for some reason, it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation, rationalizing your decision so that I forgive you? Officially exonerate you? I'm not the bad guy here, Julia. So, what are you? What are you then? In your own words. A man who does what is necessary to protect his own. They don't count as your own anymore. He mutters something under his breath, ending with a self-pitying chuckle. I don't know if you'd even want to work under a scumbag like me from now on. Oh, come on, don't turn this into a pity party. No, I'm absolutely a scumbag. Why is that? Because I'm firing you. My thoughts are scrambled. For a brief moment, the state of my bank account displays before my eyes was startling clarity. A howling void opens in my chest and starts traveling towards my stomach. No, don't panic yet, you idiot. Get more information now. There must be a catch. And what about my work? Let me get this straight. Ever since we met, I've been working on stories and pieces no one else in your office would touch with a 10-foot pole. Constantly interviewing total nobodies, always busy traveling to the middle of nowhere or regretting my last trip, repeatedly ordered to clean up someone else's mess. Julia, all your long-winded spiels about how the disposable work is the most important work, and suddenly you only remember the disposable part. My feelings about the quality of your work remain the same as ever. It was vital. It kept the magazine going. I will always appreciate it. And why would you threaten to fire me? I would never threaten you. It's a done deal. They've made their decision perfectly clear. They? What they? Who is this they? He glances left and right and then points upward for a short moment. When he speaks up again, it's in a hushed voice. You know, the big kahunas. Can't really question them. They wanted your head on a silver plate. He's not looking me in the eye. You're not joking. I would never joke about stuff like this. It's real. Fucking hell, it's real. Damn it, all the hell. All these years, all this grind, all my plans, and for what fucking osel? You know I deserve better, and I always deserve better, and always ends me going down the drain, back to the sewers. Fuck! No. Take a few deep breaths. Don't lose the plot now. Keep yourself together, you idiot. The moment that you show weakness, they go for your throat. Get back in control. You can't do this. I wish I didn't have to, but it's a lost cause. No, I mean, it's impossible. Julia, you can't fire someone who's never been hired in the first place. Takes me a few seconds to put on his, oh, I get it, face. He let out a troubled gasp and start massaging his temples. Lodestar has been my biggest source of income for the past few years, that much is true, but technically nobody has ever hired me here. It was all freelance jobs. A full-time position only served as a kind of dangling carrot, a promise of decent pay grade, career perspectives, and maybe even some kind of insurance to save my failing health. The recognition I would get for being a part of the Lodestar team, a position that everyone around me seems to respect. That from me. Why did I want it so much? There'll be time to mourn what could have been. For now, I should act like I don't care. You know what I mean. If I let you work even under a fake name, it would be a guillotine for me. This is ridiculous. You know I'm going to start shopping the story around the second I leave this room, don't you? Of course I know. I told him. Any response? Let us worry about that. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Click, clack, click, clack, click. I do wonder if I could get accustomed to one of those loud mechanical keyboards some people here love to use. Whenever I did my work in here, I was still expected to bring my own crappy laptop and sit closer to the lobby. Always on the outside, no matter how hard I try to break in. Vibration in my back pocket. Feels like a bad omen. I decided to ignore it for now. I've been working on this fucking story for, I don't know, 16 months? On and off? I know. You kept cheering me on. I know. We have even agreed on the pay I'd receive. I know. I'm 2 months behind on my rent. No, wait. 2.5. I catch him off guard. He's momentarily taken aback, and then gives me an empathetic stare. Don't you look at me this way. You don't have the right. I didn't know. Well, now you do. Look, if there's anything I could do to help. If you can't tell your big kahunas to fuck off, I don't think there's a single thing. Julia, pull out a smoke and light it up. Gotta get back in control. Please don't do that. There's a smoke detector here. No worries. Nick turned it off a few weeks ago. Probably the most creative thing he's done in the past 5 years. Good old Nick. A perfect 21st century cinema reviewer. Never has an original thought of his own. Just relies on his purely algorithmic taste to stay likable. And the best thing is, it works. Funny, I used to dream about his job. It was Brian who killed this dream, making me realize Nick won't be unseated anytime soon, and offered to teach me the ways of an investigative journalist instead. Wasn't the career I ever wanted to pursue, but to my dismay, I turned out to be surprisingly good at it. Until this Montgomery thing happened. Served me right. Lesson learned. Should have pursued my dreams instead. Stop it. Nicholas is a good friend, a respected critic, a member of my team, and put out that smoke. People tell you I let you step all over me. Why do we even let you act this way? Because you once told me honesty is the most important in a mentor-student relationship, and that it works both ways, and because I thought we were friends. He bites his lip and stares sideways to avoid my eyes. At the end of the day, bosses aren't friends. Must have been a terrible mentor if I didn't even teach you that. You are still responsible for me. Oh no, you're not getting off this hook that easily. You're still my mentor, and I will make sure you get the make sure you take responsibility. You're getting rid of me. At least point me in the right direction. I need to get my shit together fast, or I can't do it on my own. There. I might have failed as a guy, but I will do what I cannot. Oh. But I'll do what I can not to leave you stranded, okay? There are options. None of them are a remedy for all your troubles, but... Ugh, wait a second. Another vibration in my pocket. Another foreboding feeling. This time I reluctantly take the smartphone out of my pocket. If it has to rain, why not let it pour? A new email. It's a lengthy one. And the sender? Speak of the devil. No, no, no. This can't be... Christ. I just got an email from Mila Lopez. He claims she's just been laid off from Double Spiral. Same as Mike Antonoff and Jared Riviera. What? What's happened? I'll spare you all her insults, okay? The key thing is, it seems that HR knows all about the confidential information about my journalistic investigation and uses it to shut everyone's mouth. Hell, apparently Montgomery walked up to Lopez as she was emptying her desk and told her to thank me for being a, quote, dumb and careless C-word. Brian goes pale. C-word, cunt, as a pejorative term, has been used primarily as a weapon against women. It's, probably the only swear that isn't actually a slur that gives me pause to say. I find it, at times, in appropriate situations, can be used quite effectively, but despite my Australian heritage, it makes me uncomfortable. So sometimes when you can leverage that uncomfortableness for, I don't know, erotic potential, that's fun. But I don't know. A lot of the time, it's reducing people to just a single part of their anatomy, something that's traditionally been controlled by men, and I don't like that. I don't like how it feels like a weapon of control. I think he has a very good reason to. You fucking scumbag. You outed my sources. What? What? No, of course not. What are you even saying? Oh, don't you dare play coy. It must have been either you or me and no one else. And you know the way I work. My investigation was basically untraceable, both on and offline. Carefully picked meaning spots, encryption upon encryption, every direct quote rewritten 5 times just in case, all sorts of red herrings scattered around. I know my shit. You know I do. And this timing, did you pass a flash drive to your beloved big kahunas during a meeting as a sign of goodwill? Look, I get you're upset, but why don't we talk this through calmly? I love these dialogue options. That's fantastic. Alright, sorry for... No, fuck you. Fury takes a wheel and I'm just here along for the ride. I can't do anything about it. In a deranged way, realizing you're just a passenger in your own body feels liberating. Let's just see it all unfold. Calmly? Fuck you, Brian. Julia. I've been paranoid for months and months, acting like everyone I didn't know was an assassin or a corporate spy. I know I haven't messed up, not in a way that would implicate all of them. You goddamn... You thought you could get away with this? I haven't done anything improper. Don't push the blame on me. So what? You're claiming it's my fault? Because you're never the guilty one. It's always the bosses, the economy, the obligations you have. And now me. You're being silly. Quit with this martyr bullshit. Calm down or I'll have to... You immoral shithead. You motherfucking... Calm down, for God's sake. And so it goes. I yell out a lot of words I wanted to say for a long time, but held back. I fling a lot of insults I've been workshopping for years, hoping I'd never use them. I break a few things. At times, for a split second, I see pity in somebody's eyes. It's going to haunt me for a long time, but in the heat of the moment, I don't care. These people, no, this company has nothing left to offer me, so at least let me take in this catharsis. In the end, a security guard has to escort me out of the building, and that's the end of my journalistic career. I just feel like my world has crumbled into nothing. I mean, you have every right to. Like, Jesus, if I were you, I would have already broken down into a sobbing mess. I'd love to, but I'm on a subway, far too proud to cry in public, even now, and... It's stupid, but I feel like someone like that keeps destroying everything I hold dear just to see my reaction, like it was a prank show and someone was waiting to record me crying. So out of sheer spite, I'm doing my best not to cry. Fuck you, whoever and wherever you are. This is the most Julius Lewinsky thing I've ever heard. Spite is the greatest motivator, huh? Not feeling particularly motivated to do anything right now, to be honest. I just want to stay in my bed until my shithead landlord calls the cops to forcefully evict me. Not surprised. Shit, I know that whenever life decides to fuck you over, it's always one thing after another, but this is too much. How much is too much? Let's recap this last week of June 2019. I'm kicked out of my job. Well, not that I've ever been hired, so let's just say my mentor broke every vague promise he'd ever made to me. A big thing I'd been working on for a year and a half went down the toilet. It's all useless. My boss didn't protect my sources properly, and now they keep trying to reach me through every possible channel to threaten me or just yell at me, and they have every right to react like that. All of my side gigs were shut down. Nobody's replying to my emails. Someone's been dragging my name through the mud behind the scenes, and it worked. I still have no idea who's sending the shitty messages around. I've been asking, but listen, don't worry about it. I'm not going to stand idly by and watch you get cancelled by some mean-spirited, delusional... I said, don't worry about it. I have 3 unread messages from my landlord. The message previews were stressful enough. I'm slurring a little. It's not a particularly strong old-fashioned, but it is mostly straight scotch with a little bit of sweetener. And bitters. God, I love old-fashions. They're so good. The call came from Chicago. Apparently Dad has bladder cancer. Mum is in hysterics. She'd go crazy if she heard about my situation, so I had to pretend everything is okay whenever she calls. And she calls every day. She won't just hang up before she offloads all her burdens onto me. And I can't blame her because we all had to learn to cope with Dad's psychopathic tendencies somehow. World of darkness, baby. They layer one thing on to you after the other. I was robbed. All my documents and what little money I had, gone. Don't even know when or where it happened, and it's driving me crazy because I'm always extremely wary of pickpockets. All this goes on. I don't want to sound paranoid, but it really feels like a concerted attack. Paranoid is good. Anyway, I know you always hand-wave this topic away, but remember, if anything happens, my place is your place. You don't have to get through it alone. I do. I've been a trouble magnet, and as self-centered as I may be, I don't want it to affect you. I know. Listen, I have another call. All right? Just call me if anything happens, no matter how dumb it seems, okay? And swing by whenever you can. I will. Thank you. See you. Put my phone away, exhale, and blankly stare in front of me. Christ. I glance at my reflection in the window. Just look at this idiot. Whenever the situation requires me to dress formally, I still feel a bit like a child cosplaying as an adult. Should have just followed the dress for the job you want advice and continue dressing up like a trust fund kid who keeps partying on Brooklyn rooftops for years without a care in the world. Suddenly after a while I realized that the car is empty. Unnaturally so. I start feeling uneasy, but someone enters my peripheral vision. Woof. That's a good portrait. And that's the last thing I consciously registered. The world dissolves. When I come to, I'm out of the subway. standing in a back alley I don't recognize. It's pretty dark. My eyes start adjusting and I try to figure out what's happened. There's a gun in my hand. Faint silhouette at my feet. It's not moving. Excuse my delay. The poor puppet needs me to tuck her in, which is adorable, if ridiculous. Somebody stands in front of me covered in shadows. I can't fully make out her face, but she's staring at me with visible intent. She speaks. Her voice is raspy and androgynous, her tone hateful and mocking. Aren't you a nasty one? What is going on? Who are you? Don't play coy. My mind goes blank. I look at the ground. There's a body, riddled with bullet holes, and I recognize who it is. Corpse belongs to Mike Antonoff, one of the double spiral whistleblowers. My source. He was just threatening to get back at me a few hours ago. Before I can feel even the tiniest bit of compassion, I face a terrible realization. They will think I'm guilty. Oh my god. Am I guilty? How is this real? What have you done to me? You've done something to me, haven't you? Back in the subway, that was you, wasn't it? A man is bleeding out at your feet and you're turning us around on me somehow. I haven't done anything to him. Again? Don't play coy. You knew him. He was mad at you. You started telling him sob stories about your situation. He wasn't having none of it. You got mad. Things escalated. He died. This isn't true. It's plausible, but that doesn't make it true. Or does it? This is just a nightmare. It doesn't even make sense. It must be a dream. And if it isn't, the person in front of me must be responsible. There's a faint voice in my head screaming that it's her world, that I'm just living in it. What the fuck have you done to me? Nothing yet. But I'll do what I can to get you locked up for life. This is a murder in the first degree with special circumstances. Her detached voice and nonsensical tone only reassures me that this can't be real. I refuse to believe it is. Before I even managed to think this through, I point the gun at her. If I did murder him, you wouldn't be acting like that. You wouldn't be standing in front of me. You'd be running away, calling the police, begging for help, yelling that I'm a psycho. Oh, you are a psycho? But I'm not a coward. I won't let you walk out of here alive. This doesn't make a single lick of sense. Tears well up in my eyes. Why are you doing this? Because sometimes one has to confront what they're really made of. There's no two ways about it. She's got to be nuts. Slowly but surely, she starts walking toward me. Stop right there, or I'll shoot. Go on. It's the only way you can get off the hook, isn't it? The only way you can survive. But you will definitely prove you are the monster I claim you are. What the fuck is this tone? So controlling, inauthentic, patronizing. I'm serious. For your own sake, you'd better be. She keeps getting closer. Maybe I did kill Antonov. Maybe I don't deserve to live. Maybe it's less tiring not to live. Maybe I should just let her take care of me. Maybe I will just wake up. Maybe this insane reality needs to be rejected as violently as possible. Maybe a world that wants to destroy me deserves to be destroyed. She's right in front of me. It's now or never. Shoot her. I close my eyes and squeeze the trigger. A loud bang echoes through the alley. I'm afraid to look at what I've done. Gollum, you were going to say the other thing? Don't shoot her? Generally, you love taking the violent or destructive action. It's a game. That's what they're for. They let us experience things, well written by people, in a way that doesn't hurt our own life. That's why it may be sad to shoot Morden. But maybe you want to see what happens if you do something awful. Something about money? No. Shoot her, don't shoot her. I've been to a shooting range once and felt absolutely horrified by pistols. Such a small thing, but it can easily puncture a hole in the fabric reality is made of. Never knew I'd be able to use it against another human being. The very thought makes me want to puke. You were a right choice after all. I'm so glad. You haven't allowed yourself to break, but you've crossed the line I needed you to cross. There's a silent flame in you that could become an inferno if left unchecked. I sure hope it will. She's still alive. Her voice is coming from behind me. She puts her hands around my waist, and her cold mouth touches my neck. I can feel my shirt getting violently torn off. I don't understand, but I'm too dazed to protest. That was your final test. Congratulations. You have proven yourself worthy. I can feel something sharp sliding into my neck. It's not too painful, just startling. Think, a doctor pushing a needle into your vein without a proper warning. Then it hits me. Pure bliss. The dopamine receptors I've considered completely fried until now suddenly recover and start bombarding me with pleasure I've never known before. I finally let the tears go. They come flooding. They've been waiting for years. It's such a relief. Is it raining? I feel like I'm in the middle of a deluge at least, washing away all my fears, all of my sorrows, all of my anger, all of my pain, all of my ego. I become one with the world and the woman behind me. She's holding me tight, making me feel like the only important thing in this world. Everything else blurs. I feel something intense toward her. Something I never felt before. Is this love? I hope it is. This is not you, hisses a familiar, cynical voice in the back of my head. But it's okay. I never felt particularly fond of me anyway. New York, you're perfect. Oh, please don't change a thing. He who laughs in the shadows always has the last laugh. Hallelujah, praise be. When everything is cliche, nothing is. Isn't that the distant utopia I've been chasing all along? People on the other trains, I hope you're doing fine. God, shut up. Just enjoy it. You finally understand. She's making love to me. She's giving birth to me. She's burying me. Pretty sure I've been dead for a while. I'm pretty sure I could stare at my own corpse in her hands from a distance. For a moment. Somehow. And then I'm alive again. She lifts her mouth from my neck. No, wait. I taste blood on my mouth. Was I drinking her blood too? I realize that whatever this was, it's over. And I have to bask in the afterglow while I still can. I also immediately understand that I'm going to chase this fleeting feeling for the rest of my existence. Finally, she lets out a whisper which concludes the ceremony. No matter what happens next, don't forget, you're a monster. But you were lucky enough to be born into a world of monsters, so don't you ever mourn that fact. Embrace it. Vampire, baby. Vampires, they feel so good. They sound so beautiful. They are death. They are barely alive and they have been faking for so long they don't know what the truth was. They're so romantic. They're so beautiful. They're so lovable. They're so painful. And I love them. Once again, I find myself in Big Beat Burger. Familiar surroundings, faces I recognize, mood, same as it ever was. Still, I process it in an entirely different way. It all frustrates me now, or more precisely, makes me frustrated with myself. It's like I'm clinging to remnants of a cocoon I've outgrown. Ugh. Just same with these cigarettes. I don't even need them anymore. Why do I keep holding on to them? Fucking hell. It's like I refuse to accept that I'm something better than I used to be. A vampire. Dictionary updated? Well, let's check that out, right? Just 2 nights ago, I met Karen. She embraced me, by which I mean she turned me into a kindred. She calls herself my sire, and me, her child. Dictionary. Unread. The embrace. How a vampire turns a human prey into a fellow vampire, for whatever reason. Like most things, the details are a bit more gruesome than whatever romanticized images Hollywood has shut down everyone's throats over the years. Unless you think total exsanguination followed by the replacement of your vital bodily fluids by someone else's sounds romantic. Kindred. A term of fellowship among vampires, thought to have been coined after an anarch uprising of some sort, but the Camarilla doesn't talk about that so much. Sire. The one who makes you a bloodsucker. A vampire's name for parent. Mime's Karen. Child. What a sire calls his or her vampire What a sire calls their vampire progeny when they're being naughty. Sort of like when an exhausted mum calls their kid by their first name. Also tends to be go-to when someone feels like they're out of arguments and needs to make their sin already known. Plural form is childe. Or childer. I'm not sure. Last night she taught me the basics of survival. Drinking blood, manipulating humans, bending steel, controlling shadows. Tonight I expected more lessons. Instead she just told me to go out and enjoy myself. What's the catch? I asked, to which she responded, I might kill you if you prove to be a disappointment. I should remember her sire's voice. It's just hard on me. There are a few rules. I have to uphold the masquerade. I can't contact anyone I knew as a human. I can't let anyone realize I'm not human anymore. I can't embrace anyone. And so on. Otherwise, I'm free to do whatever I want, but for some reason, the first thing I did was come back here. Old habits die hard. Karen is probably watching me from somewhere even now. The way I understand it, tomorrow night she's supposed to introduce me to the Camarilla, a local society of vampires. Turns out they're the ones who've been systematically ruining my life lately. All a part of some secret evaluation that I barely passed. Just imagining the reach they have makes me dizzy. After they destroyed the old me that I barely cared about, Karen rebuilt me anew. On one hand, her test left some scars that would take some time to heal. On the other hand, maybe I should just be grateful. I'm snapped out of my thoughts by a sudden scream. Some douchebag yelling about his french fries not being salty enough. I think this is my cue to leave. Permanently. Goodbye, BBB. I hope I never see you again. I'm destined for greater things, you see. Okay, well, I didn't think we were actually choosing. Anyway. It was Dance Macabre, and something about someone deserving the thing. Anyway. This club reeks of death, and I love it. I've been here quite a few times, but I've never seen anything this breathtaking. Everyone around me is whacked out of their minds, and they keep dancing madly. Their spirits dance beside them. Spectral silhouettes phase in and out of existence, becoming more visible the more intense the music grows. It looks like a bizarre ritual, a profane mass. I notice it's the voice samples the ghosts react to the strongest. The most suggestive ones cause them to appear distorted, even tormented. As if something was struggling to be born out of the harsh sounds and the dead were hoping to be reborn alongside it. They're all uneasy, quivering with desire for something far beyond their reach, probably the same as when they were alive. Sometimes the living dancers spot their dead counterparts. It's usually the most manic ones who notice something out of the corner of their eye for only a split second, but never realize what they've glimpsed. Some apparitions dance to a completely different tune than the rest of us, one only they can hear. Those seem the saddest. The spectacle is eerie. At times it's unbearably melancholic. Above all, it's beautiful. I keep on moving to the rhythm until I reach a trance-like state, and then something even stranger happens. Every now and then when I brush against someone, a fragmentary vision appears before my eyes. Car burning on a freeway, and outstretched hands in the depths of the sea. A man jumping out of a skyscraper window. Memories of the past? Preventable visions of the future? I have no idea what it means, but I'm strangely eager to find out. Fucking sick portrait. Hell yeah. And then there are dancers like her. Ones that aren't ghosts, humans, or even vampires, but something else altogether. This new world is full of mysteries, and I plan to get to the bottom of them all. But for now, I just want to dance. Okay, well, that was cool. Julia's traits. Log. Moves of the past. That's the same. Okay, that's cool. Retributive justice. A meathead bully and his unfortunate victim. I probably shouldn't interfere. What better chance could I find to test what I've become? Two men are facing each other in a dark back alley. One of them stands with his back against the wall, his chest heaving as he's struggling to catch his breath. Goon. Cool shit there, Goon. People, anyone out there? I'm being robbed. Brawny, rugged guy is yelling at metal staircases with a theatrical incredulity in his voice. With a lively step, he dances around an older man who's having trouble finding his footing. Pitiful victim. What is this bullshit? Well, so now you can talk. Good, because I'm dying to hear what you do with my wallet, Holmes. Wallet? I have no idea what you're talking about. Goon starts prancing around like a Muay Thai boxer. He's smiling, but his eyes send a clear message. You're cornered, buddy. Don't even try to pull a fast one on me. Come on, homeboy. You may be able to trick an average Joe on the street with your act, but a fighter recognizes a fighter. It's an animal thing. It's an instinct thing. You've got some moves on you. You're like shit. You're like a black mamba. Lightning fast reflexes. You start shadowboxing for a moment. The man's definitely got energy to spare. However, unlike the King Cobra, you've met your match. Two apex predators now locked in battle. Oh, so now you're seeing snakes? I would explain some Before he's able to finish, a sucker punch knocks the air right out of his lungs. The old man slides down the wall. Before he can let out a groan, he's interrupted by a brutal kick to the chest. That's what I'm talking about. Fighting spirit, even when you're cornered. Take a seat, deep breath, collect your thoughts before you speak up again. Remember where you put my wallet now? Pretty sure you broke my rib. An eye for an eye, a rib for a ribbing, biblical punishment. It's only fair, homie. Fair? At least admit that this is a mugging. Wallet, my ass. Still in denial. Okay, let's say I had about $5,000 in there. Give me $6,000 and I'll let you walk away. Relatively unharmed. So you admit it. Admit what? This is not about proper compensation. This is a robbery. Look, buddy, it's beginning to bore me. Unless you want me to go all Anderson Silva on your ass, give me what I want. Anderson Silva? Yeah, Anderson Silva, flying knee, meeting solar plexus, the man, the myth, the legend. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing, Western boxing, Taekwondo, Wing Chun, and Capoeira combined into a single fighting style that can only be described as straight-up murder. I've been studying the glorious singularity that has been Anderson Silva for years. Every move I have, I owe to him. So if you don't want to end a snake, don't want this snake to turn into a deadly spider, show me the money, honey. Literally no one, Gollum. Summer 2013, Las Vegas. Huh? Watch it live on pay-per-view. Weidman saw through all of Silver's tricks, whipped his ass, broke his spirit, showed him for a fraud he is. The man hasn't been the same since. All the empty showboating, hollow taunting, drunk in his own cool way. Jesus, of course you idolize him, asshole. For a good minute, the goon silently looks down at the whimpering man at his feet, chewing on his lower lip. When he finally speaks up, his voice betrays an intent to kill. You know what, homeboy? Screw the money. This is a matter for honor now. My thoughts... Exactly. Ha! He raises his fist. We've got ourselves a mixed martial arts expert here, huh? For your own sake, I hope you can back that talk with some self-defense skills, homie. This is pathetic. Boosting his self-esteem by beating up an injured old geezer? God damn, you're pathetic. He jumps at the sound of my voice, turns my way in the blink of an eye, and immediately assumes a combat stance. His reflexes are sharp. Looks like he has at least this much up to back up all his bragado? Isn't it braggadocio? They're both Italian. Maybe I should ask Gollum. Wannabe Anderson Silver's face betrays utter confusion upon seeing me. He's got no idea. Brigado. Well, I guess that's right, huh? Got no idea how I managed to sneak up on him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be able to explain it myself. It felt like I became one with the darkness, my pure consciousness, traversing a dusky dreamscape, jumping from one shadow to another as if they were different trains of thought. I think of some experiences I've had with psychedelics, every blink an adventure. I was outside of this alley. Blink, I was above the alley. Blink, now in front of this guy. And he pisses me off. The older man slumps down, like he was trying his best to keep it together and gave up once the cavalry arrived. The goon regains his composure and barks at me in an overly gruff way. The hell are you sneaking around here for, chica? Move along, this is between men. Not anymore. His fists turn towards me. I'm serious and an equal opportunity ass kicker. Respond to the threat with the brightest, most innocent, virginal smile I can put on. So you're into shadowboxing, huh? Something comes over me. I can feel the darkness embracing me, whispering sweet nothings in my ear, pumping me up for what's to come. Cheers, Golem King. Reverse elbow. Crane kick. Low spinning sweep. Reverse elbow. Might as well give this a try. Before he manages to respond, my elbow crashes against his face. Few bloodied teeth land on the ground. I know what he's thinking. I should have blocked it. And he absolutely should have. But instead, he just flailed his arms helplessly as if he suddenly found himself in front of an oncoming train. A primal expression of fear that suddenly and completely took him over. I don't know how I look right now, but judging by his expression, my best guess is like the gaping maw of some primordial beast. Follow up the surprise attack with another punch to the solar plexus, or my nearest estimate. Once again, the effect terrifies even myself. Looks like a hunch was correct, and I hit the right spot. He falls to the floor, whining like a wounded animal, tears streaming down his face. I let him collect himself a bit, and then grab him by his chin. Oh. Brigado is not Italian. Learn to choose your battles, homeboy. Let me go. Just let me for Christ's sake, just let me go. I kick him in the direction of the alley entrance. He staggers off, quickly disappearing from my sight. Check on his victim. Looks like he's conscious. Wow, you whipped his ass, girl. But doesn't notice anything out of order. Good. I was getting worried I might have overdone it a bit. A woman did say that keeping a low profile will be crucial if I want to survive. You right? Need help? He manages to stand up. His smile is strained, but it suggests he's fine, or at least trying his best to seem fine. No, you gave me all the help I needed, and then some. Thank you, miss. What's your name? Jessica? Thanks, Jessica. I was worried for a second, but this asshole's bark was worse than his bite. He's probably in worse shape than me now. Guess that counts as a victory. Better be going. My wife is probably worried sick, but before that, if there's anything I could do to repay you. Really sure why he's doing that. Way to celebrate. I want to celebrate tonight. Where would you go if you were me? Celebrate, huh? First thing that comes to your mind. I want to feel alive. Times Square? Times Square? Jeez, get the fuck out of here with that tourist bullshit. Came here a few weeks ago myself. Still haven't managed to see it, and I always wanted to. In the movies, it always seems so full of life, so... Not so full of life this time of night, and not that interesting in general. Although, I think you just helped me come up with an idea. I did hear that. Take care, will you? You too. Avoid shady spots. Next time I probably won't be able to bail you out. There he goes. Avoid shady spots. Huh? Glad I no longer have to abide by my own advice. No more worrying about being out after midnight. No more feeling uneasy whenever I spot a shady asshole across the street. Ever. Hell, I can start jogging in Central Park after midnight now. Not that I need to. Future's looking bright. This image is so good. It's one of my wallpapers on Wallpaper Engine. I think it's beautiful. Wow. What a night. I watched Times Square from above. It's beautiful. Never thought this place could make me feel emotional, to be honest, but here I am, feeling deeply moved. Who would have thought? That one guy saved from a beatdown will probably get bored of this place 5 minutes after an obligatory selfie. Although I guess one's enjoyment of these sights depends on a great deal on perspective. In any case, I'm glad he gave me the idea. Getting up here was surprisingly easy, all things considered. It took a lot more thought than physical effort. Earlier tonight, I started experimenting with his body's limits. I realized I could jump over small buildings and climb up steep walls with ease now. My whole perception of space has shifted. I planned a scenic route across the rooftops. I did my best to avoid attracting attention, just as I was told, stayed in the shadows as much as humanly possible. I spot a drone from afar. For a second I feel uneasy, but I remember what she told me. Machines won't get a clear photo of me anymore. Camera footage, photos, it's all glitched out or blurry. Wouldn't take it for granted if I didn't try to catch my reflection earlier on. I couldn't see my face clearly, not in the mirror, not even in a puddle. My face is one of Dali's clocks. She told me to keep a low profile regardless. Someone might take note and track you down. She didn't care to elaborate, but it didn't sound encouraging. Suddenly it hits me. I might never be able to see my own face again. I won't even be able to take care of my looks by myself. And what about the long-term psychological effects? A knot of anxiety tightens in my stomach. Jesus, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. What else is going to change? Calm down. Wait a second. These past few nights have been the best of my night. These past few nights have been the best of my life. For years I was on a downward spiral, failing health, no future, a feeling of overwhelming powerlessness. Now everything has been flipped upside down, a total paradigm shift. A bad ending is no longer the only option. I am actually looking forward to tomorrow. I forgot how that feels. Where it used to stand at mere seconds to midnight, the doomsday clock has been effectively turned off. Cold breeze brushes my cheek. As stupid as it sounds, I chose to read it as the world telling me to chin up. I can bend anyone to my will. I am capable of superhuman strength. I am a master of shadows. I can do anything. Tomorrow night I'll be introduced to my duties. If everything goes according to plan, I will become a New York City representative of Clan La Sombra. Clan. Vampire's family tree. Specifically those sharing common blood. Imagine everyone who is your blood relative, everyone you can picture gathered around the table at Christmas, all sharing the same strengths and afflictions. Might be hard to visualize when you come from a big family, but you're still probably only picturing a few dozen people maximum. There are hundreds of vampires in any given clan. Maybe more. La Sombra. Cool shit. Whoever they are, whatever that means, I have no idea what to expect. But tonight is tonight. I'm free. All of my worries from a month ago feel like they belong to someone else. Finally, things are looking up. Cool shit. Cool shit, cool shit. March 2020. Back at it again, the Big Beat Burger. But I'm afraid it is also 2 minutes to 10 o'clock. We might as well finish here because that's an excellent point to finish. Remember 2020? Yeah, I do. Still taking the cake for worst year of my life. Fucking hilarious. You don't? Oh, it's gone, my man. My friends, it has been an absolute pleasure to finish Final Fantasy Origin Stranger of Paradise with you. Good, that's for sure. Hasn't it been fun? I've been pretty impressed with what it's shown us. And it was been a lot of fun to do, like maybe an hour or so. Shadows in New York, another vampire visual novel, and God, is it enjoyable so far yet. Maybe I'm just pretentious. Maybe I'm just as pretentious as you like, but boy, do I love reading things in a dramatic accent into a microphone. with you, my captive audience, whether you be live or whether you be in the VODs. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed the whole process for me. You should give yourself a pat on the back for finishing a Final Fantasy game released in 2022. You and I did it, whether you are live in the VODs or coming back to it years later, maybe even after you finish the game yourself. Friends, it's been a significant joy, but I'm going to finish up tonight, go make myself some dinner, and then probably go to sleep. Yeah. Otherwise, I hope you have a very lovely evening. I hope you had an excellent time playing through Final Fantasy Origins with me. I hope you really enjoyed Vampire the Masquerade Shadows in New York. Who knows if we will continue it again next Wednesday? Though I'm leaning towards yes. And I hope you tell the people you love that you love them very much. Don't let them forget it, okay? It's the one thing we have left in life. It's the most important thing, and it is the power that we use to make the world a little bit fairer for the people who need it to be. So, I'll see you again